Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite beauty products that I use every single day in my makeup routine. So I have a lot of products in front of me. This has been a very requested video by you guys about my favorite products and what I use every day. So I thought I would kind of combine the two ideas together. If you're interested to see what products I'm going to be talking about today and learn a little bit about what I use every day, then just keep on watching. Okay, so I'm going to talk about each makeup product by category in order of how I would do my makeup, just so it's a little bit more organized and flows for you guys. And I also tried to select one or two products for dry to normal skin and more for normal to oily skin, so there's a little bit more variety depending on what skin type you guys are. So first, I'm gonna start off with my favorite primers. I have very dry skin, so my two favorite hydrating primers, which are very dirty, is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer, which is a moisturizer and primer combined. And then the First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothing Priming Moisturizer. So as you guys can now tell from both of these are both moisturizers and primers combined, which is why I love them, because it's just an extra layer of hydration before I do my foundation. And then for maybe the areas of my skin that could be a little bit more oily throughout the day, my T-zone, I love the Milk Blur Sticks. This one is the newer one. This is the Radiance Blur Stick, which I like because it's just not quite as mattifying. But if you are more oily, you probably would like the regular original Blur Stick. And my absolute favorite moisturizer that I use every single day, one, when I'm going outside, and two, just because it looks the best on my skin. It has SPF 50 in it. It's the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better Illumination Full Coverage Cream. I love this one because it has anti-aging properties in it, and it's a hydrating serum built into a tinted moisturizer, and it has medium coverage. So I actually have every single formula of them because I'm that obsessed with this. So if I'm not gonna do really much else with my skin, I do the Illuminating Radiance one. If I want coverage, I do the newer one, which is the Bye Bye Foundation, which is more full coverage. And then this is, I believe, the original one, which is just the color correcting full coverage cream. So there's different formulas for everybody. Obviously, if you're oily, CC creams are okay to use, but you'll wanna use more powder to set it because they tend to be a little bit more tacky because they're a moisturizer as well. Definitely use these. I just wouldn't use the illuminating one if you're more oily. Let's say if I'm going out and I'm gonna be taking pictures with friends, my absolute favorite go-to foundation by far is the Dior Forever Undercover foundation. It claims that it's 24-hour full coverage. I do agree that it lasts a long time on the skin. I've obviously never tested it out if it lasts 24 hours because that's absolutely insane to wear your makeup for that long. But I love this. I've used this on clients before when I was doing my makeup jobs, and I use this on myself all the time. I just think it's beautiful. You can use it if you're any skin type. And if you want more sheer to medium coverage, just use less product because it is a medium to full coverage foundation. And then moving right on to concealers. I have a lot of products, so I'm trying to not linger too much on each topic. So for all you normal to oily ladies and gents out there, my two favorite concealers are the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer and the Tarte Shape Tape, which is everybody's favorite concealer. Me personally, I cannot wear these under my eyes because it just looks really heavy and really dry and makes my eyes look like they're creasing a lot more. So I use those for my T-zone, spot correcting for acne, or to carve out my brows. Concealers that I use underneath my eyes that I'm obsessed with are the Josie Maran Vibrancy Argan Oil Full Coverage Concealer Fluid, and then the First Aid Beauty Bendy Avocado Concealer. These are both probably more medium coverage. They're not quite as full as the other two. They give me enough coverage, and I think for the average person, this is gonna be plenty for you. So I think for under the eyes, these are beautiful. Okay, moving on to setting powders. I have quite a few favorites for different purposes. So my go-to pressed powder that I use to set my concealer, set kind of my whole face, and just kind of for more light coverage, just to kind of make sure that my foundation is dried down. I love the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Micro Powder. Clearly loving this. Probably gonna have to buy a new one pretty soon, but I just love how this looks on the skin. It's a really finely milled powder. It doesn't look powdery on the skin or look cakey. So I just love this just for an all-over satin finish setting powder. And then my favorite loose powders, this one is my absolute favorite. This is the Lancome Absolue powder, and this is in the shade Absolute Peche. And this one kind of has a little bit of like a champagne pearly finish to it. If you're the kind of person that doesn't really like highlight, but you like that kind of glow from within, really soft, radiant look, this would be a really good highlighter for you, and you could just focus this on the places that you'd want to highlight. If you are oily, I'm not sure if you would like this, or if you would just use it for the highlight, that's fine. For me, sometimes I've used this to set my under eyes, set my entire face, but it is a little bit heavier than the Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder. And then for my oily peeps out there, or normal to oily, the Milk Makeup Blur and Set Matte Loose Setting Powder is really beautiful. Again, doesn't look too heavy on the skin, but it will set down your makeup and have more of that matte finish and help with oil control. So if you are oily, I definitely recommend this powder. And then kind of similar to the Lancome powder that I talked about, the Hourglass Ambient lighting powders are beautiful, and this is just a palette that they have. Dim light, incandescent light, and radiant light, I believe. And these are just beautiful. So I use these as kind of like toppers. I'll use like this one to go on top of my bronzer. This one has a little bit more of a pink undertone, so I usually kind of just keep this on the apples of the cheeks. And this middle one, which is the lightest shade, I use usually to highlight my chin or my forehead if I don't want it to look too highlighted. So these are, again, super beautiful powders, really, really finely milled, and almost just look like they melt into the skin. I feel like I can't even see the powder when I put it on. So I'm absolutely obsessed with the Hourglass powders. And then for bronzer and blush, I am a cream gal, and that's because I'm dry skin, and I feel like for my everyday natural makeup, the cream products look a lot softer on my skin and just don't look quite as dry and cakey. So for me, this has been my favorite for a really long time, and I feel like not a lot of people talk about this. They talk about the Milk Makeup Baked Bronzer, which is really pretty, but this is the Benefit Hoola Quickie Contour Stick, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It's just got such a beautiful undertone to it. It's not too like red, and it's not too warm, so I feel like this is just such a beautiful contour shade, and I use this as bronzer alone. This works beautifully. I just feel like it looks super, super natural and like seamless on the skin. And then for blush, cream blush, my favorite one is by Milk, and it's their Lip and Cheek Blush, and this is in the shade Perk. I know they have another one called like Werk as well, and that one's more pinky, but I love this one because it has more of like a peachy coral undertone to it, and that's usually the vibe that I go for. It's just really soft, really natural. You can build it up if you want to. With these, I definitely recommend putting it on the back of your hand and using a brush or a beauty blender to remove the product from your hand rather than swiping it on your face. I just feel like because these are very hard creams, they kind of sometimes can move your foundation and the powder around a little bit. So I know that some people can do that, but I've just not found that that looks as good as if you were to just kind of use it off of your hand. And then my other favorite cream blush is by Bobbi Brown, and this is their Pot Rouge, and it's for lips and cheeks, and this is in the shade Fresh Melon. And it's just, again, so pretty similar to the Milk one. Try to swatch it next to it. It's got a little bit more of an orange in it. So this one is the Milk one, and this one is the Bobbi Brown one. So you can see that this one's got a lot more of that kind of corally, peachy undertone, and I love both of them. They're super pretty. And then moving on to powder products. I use powder blushes and bronzers if I'm in a hurry, or maybe if I'm going out and I just don't want it to look as dewy. I kind of want, maybe for pictures, not to my skin to be quite as like shiny. So my absolute favorite bronzers are the Tarte Amazonian Clay Matte Park Avenue Princess Bronzer. I love the undertone of this. It's really similar to the next one I'm going to talk about, but it just has a really beautiful neutral undertone, so it doesn't pull too pink or too orange on the skin, so I can use this to contour and bronze, and I just think it looks really beautiful. I'm not a huge fan of like shimmery bronzers because I kind of like to control how much like shimmer and highlight I have on my cheeks. And that way with the kind of Hourglass palette or other toppers, you can kind of just focus that glow on the very high points or wherever you want it. And my next favorite bronzer is the Benefit Hoola bronzer. Again, it's really similar to the Tarte Park Avenue Princess one, a little bit deeper, and it's got a little bit more warmth to it. So to me, that's probably a little bit more bronzery than the Tarte one, in my opinion, whereas the Tarte one is kind of more of a contour powder as well. I love both of these a lot. If I'm kind of wanting more of like a warm bronzer look for spring and summer, I'll do the MAC Give Me Sun Bronzer or the NARS Laguna Bronzer. I feel like those are just so beautiful. But for year-round, everyday, light kind of natural bronzers, I love these too. And then for blushes, more Benefit products are the Benefit Galifornia blush. This one has a little bit of a gold sheen to it. Kind of sticking with my theme, it is kind of more on the coral side. And then if I'm trying to match my makeup like I am now, I'm wearing more of like a pink mauve blush. I really love the Benefit Dandelion blush or MAC Warm Soul or MAC Melba. Those are really pretty neutral, kind of more pinky blushes. Moving on to my absolute favorite product in makeup probably are highlighters. So I have 3 different levels of highlighters. I don't have any creams with me because I ran out of the Cover FX Illuminating Drops, which are my favorite liquid cream highlighter. Those are super blinding. You can sheer them out if you don't really like too much of an intense highlight. But I grabbed 3 powder highlights today at kind of different intensities. My go-to everyday kind of softer highlight is the NARS Fort de France, I don't know how you say it, highlight. This one's definitely kind of more of like a golden champagne. Try to swatch this for you guys so you can see. This is my favorite everyday highlight, and I actually bought this for my wedding. So I feel like this is a beautiful highlighter for brides or for people that don't really like too glittery, too intensive highlights. It just melts into the skin. It looks so beautiful and natural, that very like glow from within look, and it doesn't look like it sits on top of the skin. So I love the formula of these highlighters. And then moving up a level on blindingness, the Becca highlighters, honestly all of them are unbelievable. I think I have about 5 or 6 of them, if not more. So if I'm a little bit more fair, I wear Moonstone, and I have 2 of those, just in case I run out one day and they discontinue it. Like, I'm terrified of that because it's the perfect light pale gold. And then if I have a little bit more of a tan, which I definitely don't now, I wear Champagne Pop, and this is the collaboration with Jaclyn Hill that came out a while ago. Everyone raves about this one, but it's just such a beautiful like peachy gold highlighter. And then for all my blinding highlight freaks out there, my favorite formula of highlight is by Artist Couture. This one is the collaboration with Jackie Aina, and this one is called La Peach. And I will swatch this one for you guys, but again, I have a theme here. I love peachy golden tones. That's just my vibe. Hopefully the camera does it justice and you can just see just how blinding it is. This one looks like liquid goldness. So 3 different kind of levels of highlight, but probably my absolute favorites that I grab on a day-to-day basis depending on what look I'm going for. Moving on to brows. My go-to favorite brow pencils, and this is what I use on a day-to-day basis. These are really, really skinny, precise pencils. That way you can get exact strokes for your brow hairs. The pencil that I've been using the absolute longest is the Benefit Precisely My Brow pencil, and I love this one. I just feel like it gives really natural brow hairs and it's just super easy to use. And then the other side of it has a spoolie on it, which is very convenient. And then this is a newer product. This is the ColourPop Precision Brow Pencil. I really like the smaller, like skinnier pencils. My brows are very thin and I feel like it's just easier for me to build up the shape and fullness when I have a pencil. And if I want to go in and add sharper brow hairs, then I'll use a pomade, but very lightly, and kind of build it up. So I'll use it on like a really small brush. This one actually comes with a brush, which is super convenient. So this is the Benefit Ka-Brow pomade, and this one's in the shade 4, but I think I have 3 as well, just so my hair is a little bit lighter. So this one's pretty dark, ashy brown. And I actually really like the brush that it comes with. It's a really thin, precise brush. So either that one or the Anastasia, I believe it's the 7B brush. Those are probably my 2 favorites. And the Kat Von D brow brush as well is very good. That's kind of what I do if I'm wanting a little bit more of a bold brow, but for my everyday, I usually just use a pencil and then I go in with a brow gel just to kind of set it and give texture. And that's usually my quickest way I do brows. So for brow gel, I've been loving the Milk Kush brow gels. These hold the brow hairs in place, and I just think that they're so easy to use. I love the brush because it's small enough to fit your brow hairs without like nicking your skin if it's a tinted one. And for kind of adding a little bit more texture and fullness to the brow, I love this one. This is in the shade Dutch. So I love the formula of these. I love the packaging. It's like a really matte, kind of soft plastic, which I really like. And I just love the brush as well because it just fits your brows perfectly. And I have two mascaras that I use every day. I know it's extra, but I like using one to either coat my top lashes first and then go in with a more volumizing mascara, or I use one just for my lower lashes. And that one is the MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash. And I love this one just because the wand is super skinny and it just grabs all the little hairs on the lower lash line and just coats the lashes really softly. So if I'm going for more of that no makeup look, I don't want it to look like I'm really wearing that much mascara, I'll use just this one. And if I'm going in for a little bit more fullness on my top lashes, I go in with the Milk Kush Mascara, which is so cool. Not only is the packaging really badass, it's like really heavy, almost feels like a bullet, like it's just like metal and heavy and that like chrome feel. I just love the packaging of it, and I love the wand. The wand is very fibrous, if you will, and just kind of gives a lot of natural volume to the upper lashes, and it doesn't get too clumpy or flake throughout the day. It's just an awesome formula. All right, and moving right along to eyeshadow. Probably my favorite palette that I travel with and can just create the most looks is the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill palette, which I'm almost embarrassed to show because it's absolutely disgusting. But this is the palette, and I've tried cleaning it with a magic eraser, so the entire logo is gone. That's my only downside to this, is I actually hate the packaging. I don't like that it gets so dirty because it's white. So that would be the one thing I would complain about, just because it looks kind of gross every time I'm doing my makeup. But I love all of the shadows in here. You have a lot of variety, and you have shimmers and you have mattes, and I really like the formula a lot. If you're on a budget, or if you're not one to like a lot of different palettes and you just want one, this is a really good one to have and just gets you a lot of diverse looks that you can create. If you're one that is intimidated by large palettes like that because it's just too many options or selections, and you like kind of more simple palettes, a little bit more laid out, I love the Sigma Warm Neutrals Volume 2 palette. I love the combination of mattes and metallics in this palette, and I just feel like it has a really good neutral kind of array of colors. So you kind of can get a lot of looks with this, but I feel like for an everyday palette, this one is awesome and super affordable. I do have a discount code with Sigma, so if you're interested, I do get a small commission on it, so it would help me out a lot, but if you don't like to use discount codes, I totally get it. I will link it in the description box below if you are interested in saving a couple dollars. And my newest and probably my most favorite palette I think I've bought in the past couple years is the Dose of Colors Desi Katie Friendcation palette. I don't think I've been this excited about a launch ever. These are my two favorite YouTubers that I've been watching since I started doing makeup, and I actually never bought anything from Dose of Colors before. So this was the first time that I've tried the brand, and I feel like this palette is perfect. I brought this on my honeymoon, and this was basically the only palette that I used. If you kind of want a little bit of a softer everyday look, just cover up the bottom colors, and you have kind of more of those softer neutral pinky colors. And then you have those pops of color at the bottom, and the way that they put all these colors together makes so much sense. And I feel like a lot of palettes these days, like you look at the colors and you're like, oh wow, that looks really pretty and different, but you don't know how to put together looks just by looking at it. Whereas this one I feel like is just laid out for you so easily. And the formulas are amazing. The shimmers are beyond anything I've ever tried before. The reflex in the metallics are just so gorgeous. I feel like I've gotten so many compliments whenever I use this palette, and it's just amazing. I can go on, but I'm gonna move on to the next topic. Moving on to lips. I have a couple different formulas because on a day-to-day basis, I don't wear a liquid lipstick. It's not comfortable for me to wear, and I feel like it takes too long for me to apply the lipstick. So usually I like something that's a little bit easier to put on. So usually I'll do, if I do a lipstick, it's gonna be a nude. And my favorites, besides MAC lipsticks, because those are amazing, are the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea lipsticks. And I love this one. This one's in the shade Rum Punch. I also have a couple other ones. I believe Beach Babe and Skinny Dip are also gorgeous nudes. But this one's like a really beautiful kind of rosy mauve. and I just feel like it's a gorgeous kind of everyday color. And then my other favorites, which are also from the Desi Katie collection. So these are the new Dose of Colors Velvet Matte Liquid Lipsticks, and these are a new formula for Dose of Colors. They're a liquid lipstick, but they don't dry down all the way, so they do transfer a little bit. I like how hydrating these feel, and I love both of them. If I'm not wearing any eyeshadow, I'll probably wear a Mauve Story, which is definitely a lot more pink and kind of rosy, and I just feel like it's really similar to my natural color of my lips. And the other one is definitely more my tone that I prefer, which is a little bit more of like a peachy nude, just called My Main. And both of these are stunning. And then for glosses, I've got quite a few different formulas here. So if I'm not really wearing, like, if at all, any makeup, I'm just kind of doing like a really soft tinted moisturizer, maybe like a cream bronzer, a little mascara, boom, that's it. I'll usually just pop on this gloss, and this is the Laura Mercier Lip Glace, and this is in the shade Cosmic, which is just really pretty. And it doesn't have a lot of pigment to it, it's just kind of more like a lip topper. And it just looks really beautiful on the skin. So if you're kind of going for more of that like naked soft look, it's really pretty. And if I'm wanting to add a little bit more pigment to my lips, but I don't want it to be too intense, like still look really natural, like I'm not really wearing that much lipstick or anything, I love the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb, and this is in the shade Fenty Glow. This is like a universal lip gloss. It's such a beautiful color, and I've put this on my clients from light skin to darker skin, and it looks gorgeous on everybody. It's kind of got a very neutral undertone to it. It looks different on different skin tones depending on the undertone of your lips, which I really like. So this one is kind of my go-to. It's not sticky at all, and it just feels really comfortable and nice on the lips. So this is kind of my go-to gloss, just to add a little color. Another favorite gloss formula that I have is the ColourPop Ultra Glossy Lip, and this is in the shade Fantasia. This one is super pretty, and it has really fine gold particles in it. And this one is more of that kind of nude undertone, which I really like. And it's just very soft. It definitely has a little bit more pigment to it than the Fenty gloss, but I love this one for more of that like brownish nude gloss. And then my go-to setting sprays, I have two, and they're very similar but a little different. My go-to kind of setting spray for longevity, but just also for hydration and locking in my makeup, is the Morphe setting spray. I love this one because it's a continuous spray. It's just the finest mist, and I feel like it's not gonna like spit at you, and it's just a very like gratifying, like soft, refreshing mist. I just love using this guy, and it kind of smells like cucumber, like very fresh, spa-like. And then one that I use all day and to set my makeup, and if I'm wanting kind of more of that dewy finish, is MAC Fix Plus. So this one, unlike the Morphe spray, is a pump bottle like regular setting sprays usually are. And this one is more for my like normal skin to dry skin peeps out there. This one does give your skin a very dewy finish, depending on how much you use. If you're just kind of wanting to lightly set your makeup and not kind of be too dewy, then just do like 1 or 2 sprays. But for dry skin people, go to town. Like, I have sprayed my face so much sometimes that I look like I just jumped out of the shower, and like it just feels so good. That was a lot of products. Hopefully you guys stayed till the end and you learned either a couple tips or learned about some new products that you haven't tried before. Depending on your skin type, obviously certain things are gonna work out better for you than others. If you try any of the products that I recommended and it doesn't work for you, please don't come out to get me, because everyone is different. Just because I might like something doesn't mean you will, but it's just my recommendations for products that I've tried and I've really liked, whether it was on me or other people. So if you do have any questions about products I didn't mention, or any of the products I mentioned, like how to use it, always comment below. I'd love to engage with you guys and answer any questions you have. And if you're interested to see these products in action, I have used them a bunch on my Instagram page. My handle is Chelsreymua. So if you're not following me over there, make sure to head over and follow me so you can see some of these products and what looks that they can create. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today and watching this video. Make sure before you click out that you're subscribed to my channel and you have post notifications turned on, because the algorithm absolutely sucks and nobody sees my video. So make sure you hit that bell so that way you know when the heck I posted a video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.